Jairam Ramesh, I want to start by asking you about this petition that you filed in Supreme Court along with many other people.
Now, 59.
Right, so many petitions, and they've all been now, they've been put off till next month for the hearing. I want to ask you, do people have hope about this petition? Because so many other, you have people like Harish Salve, constitutional experts like Harish Salve saying, well, really, the government was within its jurisdiction in passing such a law and with such numbers. Why are you hopeful if you are?
Well, they certainly passed the law, the bill in both houses of parliament because of their brute majority. Brute in the Lok Sabha, but narrow in the Rajya Sabha. But nevertheless, I don't want to comment on what Harish Salve has said. Well, my petition is there, it's in the public domain, and the Chief Justice is going to hear this petition on the 22nd of January. Very clearly, very categorically, very convincingly, we have argued in the petition that this is violative of the basic structure of the Constitution. It violates many articles of the Constitution, particularly Article 14. And I think, frankly, all the arguments that Harish Salve has given in defense of what the government has done doesn't stand the test of legal scrutiny. No, he has talked about the classification being reasonable. I don't want to get into Mr. Salve's arguments. I'm sure the government will argue. They've been issued a show cause not. I mean, they've issued a notice.
Yeah.
But the basic argument that we have made, and which was made in Parliament as well, that this is violative not only of the spirit of the Constitution, but is also violative of the letter of the Constitution. And it's a very brazen and a very blatant attempt at introducing a principle of determining citizenship, which was abandoned when the Constitution was made. And Mr. Amit Shah keeps talking of the partition of India, but he should realize that he should know, even his rewriting of history will not rewrite that history, that the Constitution came after the partition. The partition was on 47 of August, and the Constitution was adopted first in November of 49, and then it came into effect in January of 1950. And what does that Constitution do? Yes, partition was based on a religious grounds, no doubt about it. However, by 1950, that was no longer the basis of determining citizenship, and religion as an element or as an instrument of determining citizenship was consciously and categorically rejected by the Constituent Assembly, and that got reflected in the Constitution. Now, Mr. Amit Shah is, aided by very smart legal advisors who will remain nameless, is now trying to, make out the case that what he is doing is well within the Constitution. It is absolutely not true, and I'm sure that the Supreme Court is going to uphold my petition and the other petitions.
What makes you so confident? Because someone who was associated, you were the union minister in the UPA years, and someone who was associated with your government, Harish Khare, has written today that this comes at a time when the institutions are weak. He talks about the fact that, and he mentions the Supreme Court. So what is it that makes you...
I still have faith in the Supreme Court. I still have faith in the judiciary. And I still have faith that the Supreme Court judges who will hear this petition in January will go by the letter, number one, and the spirit of the law. Both the letter and the spirit.
Article 14
and the various other articles. I don't want to dwell too much on it because the matter is sub judice. In a way, it's sub judice. But I am confident, and I think that the Supreme Court will ultimately has always stood the country. It stood by the country, and I'm sure that it will uphold the petition.
So, Jairam Ramesh, that's a legal aspect. I want to talk about the political aspect and the perception bit. We've seen over the last 2 days tremendous amount of energy, mobilization by students across the country.
Students, youth, ordinary citizens, pensioners, and this had no political orchestration. I think Mr. Modi is completely off the mark when he says that the Congress party was behind this or some other political parties. I think this was spontaneous outburst of anger, frustration, disenchantment, call what you will. It came from all sections of society, and it shows that there was pent up anger, there was pent up frustration, there was pent up disenchantment, and people realize, I think, that the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, and the NRC, the National Register of Citizens, they are two sides of the same coin. And Mr. Amit Shah has repeatedly said that there will be a nationwide NRC, which is going to be a recipe for total unmitigated disaster.
Look at the way Mamata Banerjee is fighting. Again, I bring her up because she seems to be the only opposition leader who's really fighting now.
She's fighting with her back to the wall, with her back to the wall,
having polarized. Everyone have their back to the wall?
Polarized West Bengal society.
No, but Jairam
she's
Ramesh,
now trying to
wall.
salvage a situation which she has created in the first place. She created the conditions for the upsurge of the BJP, and now by polarizing.
So you agree with the BJP on Mamata Banerjee?
No, I don't. She created conditions which enabled the BJP to rise by having a very polarizing discourse over the last 2 years, and by the manner in which she consistently weakened the Congress party. She took away our MLA. She took away our leaders. Anyway, that's a part of history. We are now Mamata Banerjee and the Congress are part of this overall umbrella rainbow anti-BJP coalition, which is necessary. But the fact is, Mamata Banerjee is a street fighter. That's how she dislodged the CPM.
Don't you think?
That's how she dislodged the CPM. And I salute her. And I'm a great admirer of her.
Where do you see this entire, because Congress flirted with Hindutva?
There was no flirtation with Hindutva, absolutely.
Yesterday, 2017, Gujarat, and in the run-up to this entire thing, that's why we saw initially during your parliamentary meetings, and you decided to you had 2-3 crucial meetings to decide to oppose, before you decided to oppose CAA. Till that time, there was a very iffy kind of situation on how to, and
on how to what?
On how to deal with Hindutva issues.
No.
And there has been
Since you raised the CAA issue, let me tell you. 2 years ago, when the CAB first came to the Lok Sabha, the Congress walked out. The Congress walked out because within Assam, there were two views. The Barak Valley had one view. So Shushmita epitomized that point of view. We had a different point of view in Lower Assam, in Upper Assam, in the Brahmaputra Valley. At that point of time, we had not created a consensus within our own party on what should be our stance, and hence we walked out in the Lok Sabha, and in the Rajya Sabha we opposed it, although it didn't come up for a vote in the Rajya Sabha. At that time, the old CAB. The new
2018,
CAB, 2015 it came, no, 2016, and then a joint parliamentary committee was set up. Then this time, 2019, we voted against the CAB in the Lok Sabha. We voted against the CAB in the Rajya Sabha.
Right.
There was complete consistency.
So when I talk about Congress's flirtation with Hindutva, I mean your statement
these are all
after the
media
Ayodhya verdict.
These are all
where
media
you said
creation.
we welcome the temple creation, and before that, all the of coordinated moves to show Rahul with
Please wait a minute. What did we say?
To show Rahul
we said
going to various
we
temples.
respect the Supreme Court judgment.
No, you said we welcome temple building.
First
Randeep
sentence. First sentence. The official.
You can't pick and choose.
No, I'm not picking and choosing. I'm quoting from you the resolution passed by the Congress Working Committee, the highest policy-making body in the Congress party, higher than the Congress spokesperson. The first line in that resolution said the Congress party, Indian National Congress, respects the judgment of the Supreme Court. Okay, and then it went on to to discuss in brief. It was not a long discussion, but the first line was crystal clear that we respect. This was a matter that was.
See, it's confused because your spokesperson is heard on TV saying we welcome the Ram temple. So I want to ask you, Jairam Ramesh, because you've always.
It was on a title suit. It was not on whether a
temple
should be built or not.
They announced the temple. They announced the trust to make the temple. So it was about that, and he said Congress Party welcomes the temple.
I am quoting from you. As far as I am concerned, it's what the Congress Working Committee is the highest policy-making body in the Congress party. And the CWC said, we respect the
But your chief
verdict
spokesperson
of the
still
Supreme.
said
No, 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 but see, I'm telling you what the institute.
So basically, most of the
for
congressmen
me-
like you didn't agree with
for
such a
me,
matter. That's what you're saying?
For me, institutions are more important than individuals.
So that, okay. So, but you all
I'm
didn't
going
agree.
by an institutional statement. If the Congress president has said one thing, for me, that is policy. If the CWC has said one thing, that is policy.